Good morning, Flosstube. It's Sunday, the 9th of February. It's around 11:30 a.m. here in the Netherlands. Welcome to my channel, Annemiek from the Handwerk Boetiek. My name is Annemiek and this is the Handwerk Boetiek. I'm so happy that you tune in again, and I really want to thank everybody for all the encouragement, the compliments, the kind words about my very first 0.0 Flosstube video. It was a lot of fun to do. I'm really encouraged to keep going. I have no idea how often I will film. I kind of planned it for last week and it just didn't happen. There were other things happening, so I think 2-3 weeks, that's probably about it. I'm trying to do another one before I leave for Nashville Market. And then once I'm back from Nashville Market, I'll do probably a very long one with like my favorite buys from the market, some stories to tell. I hope to do a little bit of filming there, but we're at market to buy and usually you run out of time. So I have to see how that works out. And also, you don't want to take designers' time when they don't have it with the filming. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have to add little bits of film into this one, and I've never done that before. So we'll see. I have a few finishes to share. I have really been stitching up a storm this year so far. It'll be interesting to see if I am able to continue, but so far I stitched every day except for 2 days in January. I had dinner appointments on those days, and when I got home, I just, it was late and I just wanted to go to bed. So it's not like something I have to do, but I'm really glad that I, sort of encouraged myself to try at least to stitch every day and see how that goes. And so far it's been going good, and I really enjoy what I've been stitching on. I'm trying some new stuff. Some of it I'll share, some will be in the next video. And that's also really exciting. It's very comforting to do, stitch on the same kind of linen with the same kind of threads. And then every now and then it's really nice to do something that's completely different from what you're used to. So I'll show you some of that. I have some whips that I can share. I worked on my UFO project. And I have a little bit of shop talk to do. I got some stitching plans for the future. And if everything goes well, I'll try to insert a video of Poekie, my cat, at the very end. So if you're not into that whole cat thing, you don't have to see it. And if you do, you can just see how he could make a living as a circus acrobat. I think he does stuff that I'm like, he's crazy. But so far, he still has all his 4 legs. He hasn't broken anything. And he seems to be doing fine. That I get nervous when he does certain stuff. He probably thinks that's my problem. Anyway, enough cat talk. On to the finishes. I finished the next installment of our cross-eyed mitten club. And this is Shamrock and Oatmeal Mitten. I really liked it. I thought for January, February, this was like the perfect colors. It's been kind of gray and gloomy, and today we have a storm coming in, which is why I'm filming now and not later in the day, because I think that the light outside is really gonna go. But these are a lot of fun. I'm stitching them on 25 count linen. It's a natural colored linen. I should have something behind that. Hold on a second. There, you can see it much better. There we go. And they tell you to backstitch the little bow here. So instead of that, a friend suggested, thank you, Kobe, to make a little bow out of 6 strands of DMC, which is what I did. I backstitched 3 times where the back stitches were supposed to be, and then I just tied it into a little bow, which I think looks really cute. So that was another finish for February. Then on February 31st, Cecilia Turner from Heart in Hand Needle Arts sent out her newsletter, and she included a link to a really lovely freebie. She also sent out a really, really nice newsletter that got me thinking about, usually when I'm stitching, I have the TV on. Sometimes, you know, I look stuff up on my iPad. There's a lot going on, and she was suggesting to take 20 minutes a day and stitch in silence and just contemplate about, you know, your stitching, maybe about your life, whatever comes up in your mind. I thought it was really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm there yet, but I want to try it, and maybe not every evening, but maybe, you know, like on a Sunday like this when I have a little bit more stitching time, to just turn off the TV, turn off all distractions, and just enjoy my stitching. Anyway, I like the freebie so much that I want to stitch it right away, so that's what I did. This is Love Always. I stitched this on 32 count raw linen. Did it with most of the called for flosses. I changed out a few because I didn't have them. I made a few mistakes that I didn't correct because I was too far along, and I thought, well, you know, it's just my interpretation of the chart. And now the challenge is, I wanted to give this to my mom for Valentine's Day, which is next Friday. So the challenge will be to get this stitched up into a little pillow. So we'll see if that happens before Friday. If it does, I'll ask her to give it back to me when I do the next video, so I can show you a fully finished object. So that was my very last January finish. And then I started a project that I talked about last time, about doing some stitching on a 20 count. It's not like a linen, it's a blend of polyester. No, it's not polyester. It's in the last video. I didn't look it up this time. But it's 2 fibers, and it makes the fabric really usable for like tablecloths, pillows, stuff like that. Something that needs to be a little more durable, that you might be able to wash at times. And I wanted to do the alphabet pumpkin by JBW Designs. So I finished my alphabet pumpkin. I used watercolors marigold for the pumpkin. I used simpler frets, dry time, I think, for the stem. And this is Sampler Frets maple syrup, I think, maple syrup. The watercolors was a bit tight on the fabric. I didn't quite expect that. I thought that it would look more like the regular floss. I used 4 strands from the regular floss here, and this is just a 1 of 3 ply that you use. But I like how it sort of sits on top of the fabric. Now, I stitched this up, I think, in like 2 evenings. It was really a quick stitch. It's a lot of fun to work on a low count linen. Usually I work on like 36, 40, maybe 46 count linen. So this was a complete different experience. I had to use a number 20 needle, which just feels like you're stitching with almost like a knitting needle. But I had a lot of fun, and it went quick, and it was fun to do. So now I'm thinking we have 2 windows in the front, and I'm thinking of doing I think it's the French country pumpkin. That's a pumpkin made out of little motifs, like fall motifs, instead of the alphabet, and stitch that in the same color scheme. And then we'll have 2 pillows on each side of the, in each window. I found some fall fabrics, cotton fabrics upstairs that I might be able to use for the finishing, so we can do 2 pillows that look similar but have a different centerpiece stitched. So that was my first finish of February. And then I finished, can you see it? This is an old Bent Creek chart. It's Eek. It's from the early 2000s. I don't know exactly when. I don't have the chart here. I think it's like 2005, 4, something like this. So it's pretty old. But going over all the fall/Halloween designs that were out there. This one really spoke to me. I think it's still a very cute design. What I really find funny is that how hand lettering is really, like popular here in the Netherlands. I think it's popular everywhere. And, the Bent Creek ladies were, pretty far ahead of their time because they used all these funky letters. I'll show you again. Way back when nobody had ever heard of hand lettering. And this is just one example. They have more charts like this where they have the alphabet and then the title of the chart is spelled out in different colors, letters. So yeah, I really like it, and I'm glad that I got it done. So that's my second finish for February. Then I have to turn around. Hold on for a second. I thought I had everything put together. Then I have a fully finished object from January. I stitched used caroling from Twin Peak Primitives in January, and now it is framed. So this is the frame piece, and I'm just going to show it to you, and then it's going upstairs next in the box with all the Christmas frames and stuff. So we'll put it out somewhere time in, late October this year again, but I wanted to share it. This was such a fun piece to stitch, and I really like how the frame works with the kind of off-white here of the sheep. Now this was really funny. I got the chart, and in my mind, this was supposed to be a completely black sheep. So I emailed Nordon of Twin Peak Primitives, and I said, are you sure that's the correct symbol for the sheep in the middle? I thought he was supposed to be, well, it's not black, it's like a dark brown. And she's like, yes, it's correct. And I looked at the cover and I'm like, duh, really? So yeah, it's the correct symbol, and you can just stitch it as charted. And I changed the reds in here. I used DMC 816 and 817. The 666 that is called for is a little too bright for my taste. And these are just my favorite Christmas red colors. So I thought I would use that. So that's one that's into the books. So that's that. Then I have a couple of whips that I worked on. As mentioned, I worked on my UFO, the diminutive Dutch sampler by Carriage House Samplings. And I got, let's see if we can do it like this. I got this much done here. It's not really that much. The fabric is very dense. It's a Graziano 38 count linen. And it's kind of hard to stitch on it. It's so dense that the holes are very hard to see. And when you push your needle through, it doesn't really go through smoothly. So I'm not sure if I will stitch on this again. I will finish this because I'm too far along to stop now. And I really like the design. I like the kind of simplicity of it, the ornated letters. And I really want to get it finished. So I'll work on this and we'll see when it's finished. Now, before you think that the whips I showed you last time and this UFO are the only whips and the only UFO that I have, that's not the case. I think the whips are pretty much what I have, but I do have a couple of other pieces that I would need to look up upstairs in my stitching drawers, because I know that I still have the Hollandse Merklap by Jeanette Douglas design that needs to be finished. And then this week I saw a Flosstube video of somebody who had finished My Stitching Treasures by Jeanette Douglas. And I was like, oh yeah, I have that somewhere as well. So I have to see if I don't think that I'll have time before Nashville to really go through everything and sort it out and show you, but I do want to work on those. I think once this is done, I'll work on the Hollandse Merkblad by Jeanette Douglas Designs. She taught it here the very first time she was here. So that was 2013. It's a beautiful design. It's really Dutch. It has a ton of specialty stitches. It has Jeanette's unique design flavor. It's really beautiful. It's stitched with silks. It's gorgeous. So I'll look that up. And like I said, once I finish this one, I'll share the other one and see what else I uncover. I'm a little bit scared to go through all my drawers because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to find there? But well, as long as I keep stitching every day, I should be able to finish some. Anyway, that was the diminutive Dutch sampler. And then, let's see, it's Sunday now, Friday evening. So I had finished my Eek by Bent Creek. I'd finished the little pumpkin design. And I thought that I would, sort of start a new thing. Oops, hold on, something's almost sliding off. I've got a little counter here where I put everything on, and I just needed to pull something from underneath. And then the other thing started to slip, so I just got it in time. You might have noticed, I told you last time about our plan to stitch for the fall now, because this is sort of like an in-between period where we don't stitch for Christmas. Nashville market releases aren't out yet. We did spring and summer 1-2 years ago. It's not like we don't have the need for more spring summer models, but it's like we are just really low on the fall/Halloween models. So I got back to the plan. I stitched Eek. I stitched a little pumpkin. I sort of took a day off from the plan and stitched Love Always. And now I'm back on the plan because the next thing I'm working on is by the Drawn Fred. It's one of her latest new designs, and it's little bits of Halloween, and I'm stitching this one here. And the reason I'm doing this is because, as you might be able to see, we don't have a lot of room above the fretboards here in the shop, and so small and longish designs work really well. And we don't have anything Halloweenish that is stitched this way. It is I think it's a brilliant design. You can see how many ways you can work this. You can stitch it as a little square, as a little belt pull. You can do all these little motifs in their own little corners. She has like 6 or 7 border designs that you could use around the little motifs. And then you can do this. And she also has, I can't really show it to you because it's just a chart. She's charted out the word Halloween. It's just the word Halloween in the different colors that are used in the chart. And a long time ago, I stitched a tiny little pillow from Casting a Spell by Blackbird Designs. They also have that little design that says Halloween. It's like in brown and orange colors. And I stitched it on a 40 count lamb's wool, stuffed it, and finished it with a little beaded edge. I'll show it next time. It was really cute. And it got me thinking that I kind of want to have a collection of little pillow designs that just say like Halloween or Merry Christmas or even Christmas, Thanksgiving, like Valentine, maybe Easter, and just the words, not really any kind of motifs around it, but just the lettering, and then use different kind of fonts to make it interesting. So I'm sort of collecting charts that have little pillows like that, or that I can turn into a little pillow. So we'll see. That's really not on my immediate to-do list. It's sort of like a treat for myself. So I think that probably during my summer holidays, I might kit up, 2 or 3 of those designs. Because I think if you really put your mind to it and you've got everything ready, you can stitch them in like a couple hours. If you don't have to do the motifs, it's just the letters, and it's not really that hard to do. So we'll see. If it works out, I'll share. Anyways, this is how far I got with little bits of Halloween. So I got the H and the A. I'm now working on the skeleton, and then we got 2 L's, and I'll work from that. The linen that I'm using, it's a Permin linen. It's from Witchold in the US. This is beautifully beige, 32 count. It is what Hands On Design used on her Block Party Meow and Woof. And I think it's a brilliant color for the flosses. Let me show you at least part of the flosses. It is stitched with dinky dyes and some needlepoint silks. So let's see. Don't know if you can see it really well. See, I haven't put these on a thread ring yet. I'm sorry, Laura, from the Serial Starter. I'll put them on a thread ring. I don't know if I have jewelry to attach, but I'll put them on a thread ring because the little cards from Dinky Dyes are just too small, I think, to put the threads back on. I mean, this little hole here is not going to work for me. So I'll just put them on thread drops and write down the, Dinky Dyes and the number and the name of the thread color. But it's lovely to stitch with. I feel like I'm a silk snob if you say that, but cotton is fine for a lot of projects, and I think we're really spoiled with having all these hand-dyed cotton threads that we can use. DMC, and we have another brand here that's called Venus threads. They're fine too. I mean, it's just what you want and how much money you want to spend. And, I can kit stuff up with Venus, with DMC, and with silks. It just depends on what the customer wants. But having stitched with cottons for, I don't know, like 2 months, I think, using the silks was just brilliant. And I also like it that the coverage of the silk on the 32 count, you get away with just working with 1 strand. It gives really good coverage. I'll show you again. Here, look at the black board here. You hardly see any fabric through that. And this is 32 count, so it's not even 36, it's 32. The linen, you can probably tell, is a little stiffer than the Zweigart linens. I don't know if you can tell from it doesn't, see if you, let me do it like this. This doesn't really, see, it crinkles a bit more, and it just, yeah, it's a little harder to stitch on. The upside of that is that your stitches usually lay really nicely flat. So, you have to figure it out for yourself. My problem was it called for a Belfast Summer Khaki 323, which has turned into a little more green than it used to be. It used to be more like this beautifully beige. And I didn't quite like it. Now, to be honest, I think it calls for dirty linen 326. And that's, I don't know, I find it a kind of yucky color, to be honest. So that was not an option. Then we went to Summer Khaki, which was too green. And then I suddenly remembered that I had this beautifully beige still in the store. And that, I think, works perfectly. So that's next on the list of things to get stitched. I'm kind of hoping I can finish this before I go to Nashville. Then, I can pick out a frame. It can get framed in a time that I'm away. And then when I'm back, we can just put it upstairs with all the other fall stuff. And, come August, late August, we can just turn, the shop around and turn it into more of a fall kind of shop. So we'll see. Anyway, that's that. Then this morning, working on that low count fabric, I got really excited about it. I was like, this is really fun to stitch. And Paulette designed the salt boxes, like the summer salt boxes, the winter salt boxes. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had like a spring salt box and a summer salt box pillow in our windows as well. Now, she uses overdyed cottons, and in order to work with cotton on this kind of fabric, I had to use 4 strands. So I was like, well, I'm not really gonna use overdyed threads for this. Now, Paulette is kind enough to give you the DMC colors. So we changed it to the Venus frets that we carry. It's like yeah. Where do you compare it to? It has the same amount of frets, number of frets that DMC has. We have a conversion table that will allow you to convert the DMC color to the Venus color. And to give you an idea, DMC is €1.55 in our shop, and the Venus frets are 90 cents. So there's quite a price difference. Of course, the colors are not, I would say they're like a 99% match. I mean, it's different. It would be the same if you convert DMC to Anchor or to Presentia or to Sullivan's. There's always a slight difference. To me, it doesn't really matter. I really enjoy working with these frets. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry them in the shop. And since these are going to be in the window and are going to, probably catch quite a bit of sunlight in the summer, I didn't want to use, like overly, not the more expensive frets. I didn't want to spend too much money on it for a piece that's probably going to have some sunlight wear and tear over the years. So I made a little start this morning. This is my start. This is with 4 frets of the Venus collection. And let me show you the design. This is the one I'm stitching. And I wanted to stitch a little bit of the house behind the sheep because otherwise, can I see it like this? Yeah, there it works. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to really see the sheep very well. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot of fun working on a 20 count fabric. The 4 strands are not really that bad. I separate each strand from the 6 strands and then put 4 of them together, stitch with that, and then use the other 2 and 2 of a new, piece of thread for the next time. It works really well. I was kind of dreading it. I thought that it would not really stitch very pleasantly, but the stitches lay nice, I think. Let me show you. I think especially with the darker ones, look, that's not so bad for 4 strands. It's better, I think. So my idea is to put this aside for now, and I might take this on the plane because I'm thinking plane, you don't have a lot of room, you don't have very good lighting. The 20 count is kind of easy to spot. I might have to pre-cut my threads because cutting through 4 strands with your little pendant cutter, I think that could be a little awkward. I don't know. I'm not sure if that would work really well. So I'm thinking what I could do is pre-cut my strands, use what I need, and then either end the threads and sort of pull it back to the front so that it doesn't bother me on the back, or see if I can still cut it with my pendant cutter. I might bring some cheap kit scissors with me and see if they will allow me to take that on board. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, this is summer salt boxes. I have spring salt boxes on order with Hoffman. Hopefully we'll get that with our next order, and then I can go to town with another pillow design. Like I said, I never thought I would enjoy it this much, but it's kind of like very relaxing to do. I did this morning, so you can imagine that was like maybe an hour and a half of stitching, so that's not too bad, I think. I had to frog a little because I made a counting mistake, but yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. Then, a little bit of shop talk. You may have seen this on our website. Twin Peak Primitives and us are doing another Dutchmaynia this year. And this year it's going to be a weekend. So it's the 5th and the 6th of September. It will take place in Roden at the hotel down the street. It's going to be a lot of fun. Northern designed a special design for us for the weekend, like the December in the Netherlands chart. It will be available to everybody else after the weekend. Just sign up for our newsletter and you'll get all the details about that. And then there's the design that we're going to be working on during the weekend, which is probably also going to end up in my bag for Nashville, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun to stitch as well. And you are, you have the chance to win the entire trip. So not only the retreat here in Roden, but also go to Italy with Pam and Steph, with Noorden and Noorson, and have an incredible lot of fun, I think. And in order to be able to win the trip, you buy the beautiful Springfield 1817 sampler. It's a beautiful chart. Noorden did a really, really great job on this. It's a biggie. It's 371 times 416 stitches. I wouldn't be able to stitch it, but you can always buy it. You can use little motifs for smaller things. And what I really like about the way she puts her charts together, you don't have to run to a copy machine to enlarge it for yourself. It's large enough that you can stitch it from the pages themselves. There are 27 pages in this. And I think, even if you just keep it for, to stitch someday, or to stitch just a part of it, or to use the alphabet for something, or the flowers, just one of these flowers would be gorgeous, or the birds. There's so many possibilities with this chart. It is 18 euros in the shop, and Noorden and Noorson talked to Lydia from Lovely Stitches, and she made 50 needle minders. Let me see if does it focus? Yes. So this is the needle minder that you will get free with your chart. So for 18 euros, you get that beautiful chart and you get the needle minder by Lydia. Now, getting the needle minders here was a bit of a story. Lydia sent me an email, I think, Noorden let me know that Lydia would send the needle minders to me. So one day I come home from work, it's dark, and I don't turn on the lights in the hallway because I just know my way. And there was something laying on my mom's walker, I think, like a big white thing. Well, it turned out to be this envelope. Now, you may think that I opened it up here to see what was inside, but this was actually how it was put through my mailbox. So the Dutch mail did a horrible job on this. It's unbelievable that this whole seam here got ripped open. There was no need for them to do that. I don't know. Normally, if something happens in the machine, they will put a plastic bag around it and an apology letter. Nothing at all. So my first worry was, how many of the needle minders are still in the envelope? So I took it to the kitchen. I started counting, and there were 33 needle minders. So 7 were lost. At least that's what I thought. So I went back to the hallway. I don't know exactly why. Maybe there was some other stuff I needed. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I went back to the hallway, and turned out that 4 of them had fallen on the floor, and my mom had put it up on her walker, not on the package, but next to it. And since I didn't turn on the light, I didn't see that until I turned on the light. So maybe the big lesson is always turn on the lights when you get into your own hallway to see what's there. So I had already emailed Lydia and said, I'm really sorry, this is how the post messed up your envelope. I only have 43 needle minders. Please, file a complaint with them and get them to reimburse you for those other 7. So then I had to email her and say, well, it looks like 4 of them were, on the floor, and my mom picked them up. So that was still 3 needle minders missing. Well, the next day I go to work, I walk out my door, and my mailbox has a lid that is metal, and maybe you can feel where this is going. And it turned out that the other 3 needle minders were on the back of the lid of my mailbox. It's like, really? But since it is a needle minder and it has a magnet, and my lid is from metal, it's kind of stuck to the lid. So I emailed Lydia again and I said, well, good news. All 50 needle minders are accounted for, but still file a complaint with the postal services because this is ridiculous. She had wrapped all these needle minders in their own cute little plastic baggie, included her business card, which was a savior because otherwise it would have all gotten wet because all those little baggies were wet and I had to, put them on my counter so that they could dry. Anyway, that's the story of the needle minder. All 50 are accounted for, but don't ask how. And I don't know if she ever got a response back from the postal services. Our postal services are not very good at dealing with complaints and telling you, well, you're going to be reimbursed for something. So, but the good news, if you order the charge, you get both the needle minder and the chance to win the trip of a lifetime. I know we said that with the previous trip, but this trip, going to Italy, I wish I could come to. It must be fabulous. You're going to visit a needlework show there. And just being in Italy at the beginning of September is heavenly, I think. It's not too warm. It's kind of nice and sunny. And just, Italy, gelato and pasta. What more do you need? Anyway, get the chart, get the needle minder, and get a chance to win the whole trip for Dutchmaynia 2. Then, if you have noticed, this is a new model that we put up here. This is by Ube Design. It's a German designer, and my mom stitched the model. That's why I'm pointing it out. It's really a lovely piece. And you can see up here that we've kind of redecorated the shop a bit. This is Madame Chantilly. It's called fast food. I think it's hilarious. It's like 4 sheep. You can't see. Oh, let me see. See, 4 sheep that are holding carrots and flowers and, they're kind of fast food. And this is Ink Circle Designs. I don't know what it's called. It's a very nice design for a man. It's got all kind of tools in there, and I really like it. It's a sweet little design that you could stitch for somebody who really likes to, help out with stuff, or it's very handy. Wouldn't be me, but, it's really, and it's nice that there are some charts that are really for men, that you can stitch for men, because a lot of them, I think, are more for females. And this is really one you could use for a man. Anyway, somebody asked if I was going to do a shop tour. I am going to do that, but it'll be after Nashville. Stephanie did a great shop tour of when we decorated for Christmas when she was here in December. And we haven't changed everything out because, we still got some snow stuff here. And I wanted to have the shop look different. So probably in March, April, I'll do a shop tour. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to show you what we have, show you how we get our fabrics. We have to buy fabrics by 3 or 5 meters. So that means we cannot buy a single yard of a single count and color. So if, for example, I need to have Belfast raw, I need to buy 5 yards of it. And you can understand that means that, we do have a pretty good selection, but it took some time to build it up. It's a lot of fabric that you have, a lot of fabric that, we have a storeroom upstairs that has probably half of what we have in the shop, because suppliers sometimes run out of, just like the really normal colors, 101, antique white, ivory, cream, raw, flex. And I really hate it when somebody took the time and effort to come here and I have to say, oh, you're looking for Belfast flex. I'm really sorry, we're out and we ordered it, but the distributor doesn't have it in stock yet. So, it's not here. And of course, that still can happen. I cannot have every single count, color, and type of fabric in my stock room. That would be an insane amount of money. But it's just a little different from how the shops in the US buy fabrics. They can order it by the yard, which I would love, but none of our suppliers is willing to do that. So we'll stick with what we have and enjoy the colors and counts that we have. Then last week, not this last Friday, but the Friday before, we send out our very first pin drum kit of 2020. It's a design by La Di Da, and we send out the US ones on Monday. Our postal services changed the way we can send out packages. If there is anything other than paper in the packages, we have to fill out a customs form. And even though I spent 4 hours with the help desk on, on trying to figure out if we could do this in a way that it would print the customs information on the label, it still didn't work out. So I had to write all the custom forms by hand. And Friday's always a little bit crazy over here. There's a lot to do, a lot of stuff that needs to go in the mail. So I figured I would just take Sunday morning and take my time and make sure that everything's filled out correctly. And I already heard from three ladies that they had received their package in the US, which I think is pretty good. It's like within a week, so that's not too bad. To show you, this is the kit that people received. This is the design. What you cannot see is that on the bottom, you will repeat this design and then it says 2020. So we include, let's see, so this is the fabric. It's Confederate gray 36 count. There's a piece of interfacing, two little carton discs for the finishing, and then of course the floss colors to stitch it with. Really pretty. And we include some DMC for the finishing. Now, we did this pin drum club starting in 2018, running over in 2019. We really liked it a lot. The customers liked it a lot. So we're doing another round of 4 pin drums. They'll be designed by La Di Da, Heartstring Samplery, Plum Street, and Kathy Barrick. And they all have a kind of seasonal theme. So this was Christmas, winter. The next will be spring. Plum Street will do summer, and Kathy Barrick will do fall. So I think we're in for a treat this year. Now, I have 2 spots left because 2 ladies emailed me that due to a change in their financial situation, they couldn't continue with the club. So if you're looking for something to stitch in 2020 that will be delivered to your door, let me know. Drop a line at info@thehandwerkboetiek.nl. I'll make sure that my email is in the description box, and we'll send out this kit to you. And the next one will be late April, late June, and late October. So really something to look forward to. I don't know when I'm going to stitch this. I still have 1.5 pin drum from the last series to stitch, so I might just hold off with these to stitch them, but I don't know. This is really tempting. Lori from La Di Da did a wonderful job. Really, it's a beauty, and I think it's really nice to have something that also says 2020 on it so that you know in which year you stitched it. So that's that. Then for stitching plans, that's all my shop talk. Something is falling down again. This is something, I think a lot of us bought it. Hold on. The Jane Marshall sampler that Hands Across the Sea put out in order to support the Australian firefighters. I really like this design. This is the dimensions that I'm comfortable with. I looked at other Hands Across the Sea charts, and they're just too big for me. I mean, I know that some of you think that these are, medium. Maybe for you, they're small samplers, but even the smaller ones for me are like, I don't know. I don't think once I started, I'm ever going to finish them. The border is one thing. I think I told you last time that I'm not very fond of stitching a border where the pattern repeats and repeats and repeats. And since I know that, I'm like, well, I shouldn't start something that is, it might end up not being stitched on for years on end, and I don't want that. But this is a very manageable sampler. It is, let me see if I can find it. It's 94 by 144, and it doesn't have, well, it does have a border, but not an elaborate border with flowers and stuff. This is just a single line stitch, so I can do that. Anyway, I got the Flosstube for this. This is a really thin thread of silk. Trying to pull one loose. See, I should have done this before I started recording. It doesn't work. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, this one works. I don't know if you can see this. See, it's very, very thin. This is almost like a sewing thread, that thin. It's beautiful to stitch with. I've done several projects with it. If you want to stitch on 40 count over one and do a full cross, Flosstube is your friend. It comes, they have several red colors. This is not the usual red color. The usual red color is 2109. That's like the perfect sampler color. If you do a red sampler and you want to do it on really a high count, you know, like a 50 count or 56 count, or if you want to go crazy and do it on 40 count over one with a full cross, use 2109. 2109, that's the color number. It's gorgeous. I'll see if I can find something that I stitched in this color for the next video. Beautiful. So I treated myself. I have to find out how I'm gonna do this. Anyway, these are part of the colors. And then we have another couple. And oops, let me do it this way. These are the other colors. Now, as you might see, these are on plastic spools and these two are still on paper rolls. This is how we used to get them. They're slowly converting their collection to the plastic spools, which is really nice because they have this little thing. So you can pop that up, thread it, put your thread around it and then close it and it'll stay put. These two don't have that yet, but that's okay. I'll manage. So I'm thinking of stitching this on probably 46 count Bergen linen. I have to see if one strand of Flosstube will have enough coverage. If not, I might move up to like a 50 count linen because I really would love for it to be tiny, to be really small. And yeah, I'll just have to see. I have to figure it out. But like I said, that's one of the stitching plans for 2020. I wanted to stitch a reproduction sampler, so this would fit in right in that plan. And I still think this is something that I would be able to finish. That's important for me as well. I don't want to start something that I already have doubts about whether I'll be able to finish it or not. So, you know, I want to keep things manageable. Those are my stitching plans. Some people asked if I had more photos of Poekie, my cat. I will try to insert a little video. If it doesn't work, don't get mad. I'll try next time. I just want to make sure that I can upload this and publish it either today or tomorrow. So, in the meantime, enjoy your stitching. Have fun watching Flosstube. Let other Flosstubers make your day a little brighter, make you laugh at some stuff, make you, you know, hunger for some more starts or get inspired to change something. And I'll be back in a few weeks. See you then. Bye.